Go time. Where the fuck is he? Shit.
You will die. Combination complete.
Oh, that's bullshit. Combination complete.
Uses all of his tools. Backup required.
It's a bitch move. Come on. What? Can't have it in your own?
Your intellect is far more. Continue alone would be foolish. Help me.
I ain't crying for help, boy. Can't handle me. Back on the cow. Oh, if I had my die kick, it should be over.
What do you fight?
Oh. Oh, fine. Knee dive kick. Both stunned. Oh, they want to live, boy. Ah. You don't want to die. He killed himself.
Use your intellect and evade my blows.
Ah, I could have avoided that. Bitch. Hey, Blade Wolf, wanna shake?
Cannot continue.
Directive, liberate nation into your freedom. Obey directive. Must obey directive. No freedom. Freedom of divine.
What would an AI know about freedom?
It's a shiny little template right there. Aww, rank C. Any goodies? You see, I play Genji, so, you know. Alright. How much shit do I have? Yeah, one of those. Yeah, that's maxed out. Rocket launcher. Alright. Let's talk to some people.
Raiden, allow me to give you a recap of visual augment mode.
Why? Is it different from my AR display?
We'll get to that in a moment. Modern tech gives us the ability to display assorted information streams visually. This is accomplished by interrupting the data flow from a cyborg's optic nerves. This is referred to as AR, augmented reality.
That's how I can see my Soliton radar and who I'm talking to on the codec.
Right, but if too much data is presented in this manner, the user runs the risk of having an incomplete view of the real world.
Yeah, the codec window's got a bad habit of getting in the way when you drop into chat.
Of course, of course. Typically, I'd simply call, leaving it to you whether or not to respond. In an emergency, however, that just wouldn't do.
Define emergency.
Yeah. Anyway, cyborg AR designers try to keep the interface as unobtrusive as possible. But there are times when one really does need all that data on display. This is where augment mode comes in. Now, I know it sounds a bit like augmented reality, but just think of it as an additional dimension to AR.
Okay, fine. So what's it do?
It uses local Soliton radar and XIFF data to do things such as analyze and display enemy position and numbers. It also has a starlight scope and thermal goggle functionality for a host of night vision capabilities. The entire image is digitally processed, making it much easier to read than earlier thermal goggles.
Yeah, I noticed that.
Used in a well-lit area, your perceived brightness will be affected, but it won't hinder vision too much. The same type of sensor is used for all functionality. The data sent out by each one is merged together as part of the digital processing. All you need to worry about is turning the individual functions on and off. Simple, yes?
Sure, Doc. Simple.
Alright, Courtney. Yeah, sure, that's safe.
You know, I almost felt sorry for the little guy.
What? That UG? Why? Because it couldn't disobey its orders?
Yeah, that, and I don't know, it didn't seem especially interested in fighting you somehow.
Really?
But was it really thinking on its own? Maybe it was all just an act. Get me to second guess myself.
You could be right. It's just, it didn't seem like just another UG to me. Maybe it's because I'm such a dog lover.
That was no cuddly puppy, Courtney. It was a wolf, and a nasty one at that.
No, I know. You're right. I didn't mean to sound critical. Whatever it was, it attacked you. You had no other choice.
Didn't have much freedom myself, did I?
Yo, kid.
What was up with that wolf dog UG? Some pretty freaky shit.
Hadn't thought too much about it.
Really? I keep wondering, why give it intelligence if you're not gonna let it think for itself?
Good question.
I mean, I guess it makes sense if it improved combat performance.
Now that you mention it, it didn't fight like your typical UG. It felt more like I was facing off against a cyborg.
Oh. I guess the added smarts make for a tougher opponent after all.
That's not what I mean. It wasn't really tougher than your average UG. More like it was, I don't know, hesitant. It didn't follow through on its attacks either.
Guess that's why it was still just a prototype. But then why put it out on the front lines?
Who knows? Maybe it was the field test. In any case, probably not the result they were hoping for.
Oh my god, we're gonna get a dog? We're gonna get a dog. I think we're gonna get a dog.
I see you found the grenade.
Yeah, a new type. Intended for use against vehicles, UGs, and cyborgs.
Shell design is first class. The charge, even carbon nanotube compound armor cannot fully block.
Sounds like we should keep a few on hand.
Yes, well,
What? They don't work as promised?
no, the specs are just fine. It is only, well, if you want quality, you have to pay for it.
That much, huh?
Triple the cost of standard grenade.
And Desperado's got a bunch of them. I'd love to look at their annual
It's
budget.
massive.
Most likely they have good relationship with manufacturer. I think they got insider price.
This'd be easier if we had a few more friends like that.
What about Drebin? What about Drebin? What, you can't get his neck on hardware? Just saying. No.
Need something else?
I thought we'd get back to our little history lesson.
Oh, cool.
What do you know about the Patriots?
I know that they were behind everything we talked about before with the SOP system. People thought these 12 guys controlled world politics and the global economy from the shadows.
And they were right. Except there weren't 12. And they weren't guys. Or even human. They were massive AI networks.
All the better to gather information on a global scale. Or censor it if they wanted. They'd manipulate factions to keep wars raging, all while selling arms to both sides. The PMCs made billions too, of course. SOP was the Patriots' masterstroke. They could control battles directly, down to each individual soldier. The system might even still be around if the AIs hadn't all been destroyed.
I'm impressed. You know your stuff. Not many people have even heard of the Patriots. More than when they were active. But still, not many. Almost no one knows they were AIs, or that they're the real reason SOP went away.
Well, the few that do know aren't going to talk about it publicly. Even the world leaders.
Especially the world leaders. The people would panic, assuming anyone believed them, which they wouldn't. You can find speculation on the net if you look hard enough. Some of them get pretty close to the truth, but the stories never made it into the mainstream. Just another conspiracy theory.
I'm not surprised. It's a little hard to believe, you know? It just sounds crazy. When Kevin briefed me about all this in orientation, I thought it was some kind of BS detecting test.
Okay, you got any feedback on that?
Sorry, man, but I have to ask. Where did Mr. Lightning Bolt come from anyway?
Seriously? Alright. Well, I told you where I got Raiden from, right?
No.
World War II, the Japanese had a plane called Raiden. The Allies named it Jack.
Yeah, I remember.
And my real name's Jack. So yeah, they codenamed me Raiden.
They being the Patriots.
Mm-hmm. Never really suited me. But it's better than... Jack just reminds me too much of the past.
I hear you.
Someone once told me, you can find your own name, and your own future. After that, I dropped Jack for good.
Right. And this lightning bolt business?
Well, the Rai part of Raiden means thunder, and Den is electric. So Raiden is basically lightning bolt.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, I was explaining that to Inmani, and he just busted out laughing.
So he called you that as a joke? He was basically just giving you shit.
Yeah, he actually had a pretty good sense of humor. He was one of the most charismatic men I'd ever met. I don't know much about politics, but being around him, you could just tell he was a natural leader.
Such a goddamn shame.
I won't let it happen again. Desperado ends here. Comic book villains and all.
Yeah. We're counting on you, Mr. Lightning Bolt.
Still giving him shit. Okay.
Hey Boris, about the Soliton radar. I noticed that it doesn't get jammed anymore, even if I get spotted by the enemy. Back in the old days, it'd be useless the second an alarm was triggered.
Well, once the Patriots fell, classified technology spread all over the world. This new Soliton radar is one example. By applying a non-linear Schrödinger equation to the Soliton solution, they were able to prevent the jamming that plagued the original models based off the KDV equation.
I'm impressed. You know your stuff, Mr. President.
Of course, I'm a businessman. You think I could run a profitable PMSC without being up to date on the latest tech?
But I wonder, how exactly is the equation different? I mean, I'm no expert on how the KDV equation was implemented in the first place, but I'd love to know how the Schrödinger equation fits into all this.
Raiden, on battlefield, most important thing is how to use equipment, not theory behind it. The mission is #1 priority. So do not worry your head about equations and such things. Just concentrate on using the equipment to your advantage, da?
In other words, you have absolutely no idea.
Exactly.
Ah, the mission, Raiden. Focus on the mission.
I think we need Otacon here. Otacon can break it down. Or maybe Sunny. Nah, Sunny's not here. But then again, I think Sunny is smarter than Otacon. What do you guys think? Who's smarter? Otacon or Sunny? Well, at least Otacon can cook an egg, though.